Hello and welcome to the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, manifesting maven, lunar ritualist, nature lover, sex magic expert, and empowering sex, love, and relationship coach. If you'd like, you can think of me as your witchy bestie who calls you out on your self-deprecating cycles while encouraging you to align with your highest self. And I'm on a mission to help women return to the wisdom of their bodies and nature and to embrace their inner power. If you're a woo-woo mom craving more self-love, confidence, fulfillment, and passion in your life, you're in the right place. The Unapologetic Moms Club podcast is here to help moms like you to thrive as your most radiant and happy self. Here you can find inspiration and tools taken from my one-on-one coaching sessions and group experiences to support you in your journey. We'll cover things like societal conditioning, inner child healing, pleasure practices, manifestation techniques, approachable rituals, and all around women's empowerment. My goal is to shift your perspective and to give you actionable takeaways so you can walk away from these episodes feeling inspired to create a life that ignites your soul. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Well, this is a super vulnerable episode to put out there into the world, but fuck it, let's do it. So, once upon a time, I was a 30-year-old who had never masturbated. My motherhood journey, for those that don't know, or just to share a little bit more, I was part of the 2 Under 2 Club. My kids are 18 months apart. Although my entire life I talked about having a boy and a girl 18 months apart around the age of 27, 28, they were both surprises. I got exactly what I always wanted, which is a crazy story for another episode, but that's exactly what happened. And it was surprising, and it was a whirlwind, adding in everything else going on in my life with marriage and getting a house, and it was just jam-packed into a tight amount of time. But to focus back on that personal, physical aspect in having those back-to-back babies, in breastfeeding, throughout the pregnancy journey, it didn't feel like my body was my own. It was in service to my kids. I was creating babies, I was feeding babies, while simultaneously creating babies, going back to breastfeeding again. And so my body really wasn't my own for, I want to say 3 or more years. Yeah, more than 3 years, 3.5 years. And so I had this really big disconnection with myself. I didn't feel that confident in my new body. I was someone who generally had a decent amount of confidence. I struggled for sure with my own body image things in certain ways, but it was at a whole different level after having kids because just everything was different and it was in service to others. It wasn't mine. So anyway, after finally finishing breastfeeding my second, I chose to reconnect with myself, to go in a bit of a personal liberation connection journey and really find what the new version of me was. I knew I didn't want to go back to who I was before. That wasn't really the story. But I wanted to find out this new version because I was new. I've gone from maiden to mother and really wanted to connect with this mother version of me. And as divine timing would allow, as a content creator, I had an opportunity to have a partnership with Vush. So for those who don't know, Vush is a fantastic sexual wellness brand. They're very well known for their Empress, which is an amazing clit sucker. And they have a bunch of other vibrators and different things. By this time, when I first started collaborating with them, they only had that one Empress. And they're a super fun brand. But anyway, I had an opportunity to partner with them and I jumped on it. And I had never in my life used a vibrator before this time. And so I had one shipped to me and got to try it out. And it's funny because it really was a turning point for me. Like, who would think this like pink little clit sucker would like change my whole world? But in a lot of ways, it really did. And so I will just go to share. Like, it was uncomfortable, weird at first. Like, even just finding exactly where it goes was awkward. I had spent 30 years never really getting to know this part of myself that intimately. So just to normalize that can be awkward and strange, and going into pleasure practices and trying these new things, even like a face massage that I talk about in a previous episode, like these things do feel awkward and weird as fuck when you are starting them out. So just putting it out there, normalizing it for anyone in a similar position. But what did come from that, through going through that weird stuff on my journey to connect with myself, is that I had such a boost of energy and empowerment. Like, my confidence skyrocketed, which was so helpful with my postpartum body image issues. I really built that connection with myself. I learned what I liked and didn't like, rather than navigating that with a partner there. It's so much different when you can navigate that with yourself, gain confidence on your no's and yeses or fuck yeses, and be able to understand them on your own and then communicate them with a partner. I just feel like it's an easier transition to go through, and that is something I work my clients through when we work together on one-on-one. But through doing that, with starting that journey with myself, it ended up increasing my sex drive with my husband. Like, the more orgasms you have, the more you want. And so it really strengthened our connection throughout all those pregnancies and breastfeeding. There wasn't a ton of action going on, and there was that typical exhaustion, newborn haze in the trenches. But that's what really sparked playfulness and fun and connection in our relationship again. And so being able to have this with that boost of confidence, having that time for myself, having that mindfulness and presence that comes along with pleasure practices, it really allowed me to show up as a better mom. I was able to be a lot more present with my kids, have more fun and playfulness with them as well, not be so tired and stressed out and this like shell. I was really able to show up as me, that new version of mom that I wanted to connect with. I was finally able to embrace her, which was so beautiful. So fast forward, life's journey, once again, divine timing, brought me to Layla Martin's Vital Integrated Tantric approach to sex, love, and relationship coaching. So before I saw this coaching program, there wasn't a single thought in my mind that I would be a sex, love, and relationship coach. But as the universe would have it, this is my calling. I'm pretty sure I've done this for many lifetimes. This is just my like downloading update in this lifetime, and it opened my world even more than that initial opening up from that pink little vibrator. I saw just the incredible impact that pleasure not only on how pleasure is pleasurable, but how you can heal trauma, rewire the nervous system, how it can act as nourishment, how it opens up your energy channels, how it is extremely potent for manifesting. Like, your girl loves manifesting, all of that fucking love. And when you combine pleasure, sexual energy with it, it is fantastic. And so all of these things, it really helps us become more and more in alignment with our authentic truth, with our highest selves. One of my favorite things that Layla said right at the beginning of my program, and I believe she called it a tantric principle, is that the greatest transformation comes through the taboo. And that is why I love this work so much. That is why I champion pleasure practices so much, because pleasure and sexuality has so much negative connotations around it in this society. Yet it is this innate part of us. It's who we are. It's how we create other humans. It's our life force energy. It is an innate part of us. And so when we associate all this darkness with this innate part of us, like, how can we truly be whole with that hanging around? So when we move through the taboo, use it as a portal of transformation, holy shit, does so much come out of it. You are able to love and accept yourself on these deep, deep level, and then use that power in all of those other ways that I touched on: healing trauma, rewiring the nervous system, energy channels, manifesting. I love it. And so it just goes to show how powerful this work is. It's why I'm so passionate about it. Interweaving things like inner child healing, breath work, and pleasure practices is just so transformational on a deep level. And I've seen it not only in myself, but now with the women I've had the pleasure of working with throughout these last few months, as well as the different peers in my program. Like, I've seen it time and time again, hundreds of times, when I look at all my peers in addition to my clients and myself. And that pleasure is the pathway for transformation. So that is a bit about my personal journey with a pleasure practice and how it opened up my world and why I truly love this work. And so I invite you to join me for my free event, Revitalized Mom, Nourishing Through Pleasure, where I go into all of this on a deep yet approachable level. Like, we're going to be incorporating inner child healing, yoni breathing, pleasure practices to just give you that basic foundation so you can really work with this, understand your life force energy, understand different ways you can incorporate pleasure practices in your day-to-day life as a busy mom. I'm going to be there to answer questions. There will be a day for live coaching. You will have an opportunity to have recordings. You can do these meditations and pleasure practices on your own and begin on your own path, your own personal journey through pleasure practices, and how it's going to create that similar ripple effect in your own way for your life, how it's going to affect how you're going to show up as the partner and mom and multifaceted woman you know you're meant to be, and how that ripples out to how those people then show up to those around you, and on and on. So there is my spiel from the heart, because I'm so excited about it. I hope to see you there. All of the links are in the show notes below. Until next time, take care. Thank you so much for joining us inside the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you shared about this episode in your stories or left us a review to help us reach more women on their unapologetic mama journey. As a thank you for your support, you'll be entered into our monthly draw for a free laser coaching session. Just tag @Janine.McKinnon in your story shares, or leave the rating or review, screenshot it, and email to Janine@unapologeticmotherhood.com to be entered. One lucky winner is selected every month for a focused coaching session to support you in working towards your current desires. Until next time, trust your inner wisdom and create some magic.